We go back at it like an asthmatic. As every day.
Wheezing.
As we figure it the fuck out, we back at it, doing it again. We're going to be giving this to you a lot here. We got some great topics to discuss. And we're going to break it in like this. So just go right into it. This is something that me, Kaseek over here, been kind of thinking about a little bit here. And we've been watching the changes in the industry a little bit as we've been going through things. But we wanted to kind of talk about the role of artists in this whole music industry and how that's a little bit shifted. And also the role of the performances. Because we see different platforms declining. We see harder to get shows for a lot of different artists and stuff like that. So we wanted to kind of touch on stuff like that. So the first thing I wanted to get in on is, where do you think, because you're an artist yourself, you've been doing this for about, for a while now, and how the evolution has shifted from how the shows have been for artists, whether they're performing at a bar, a packed stadium, whatever it was. That whole landscape seems to be moving. So what do you think about that?
Well, it is moving. It is changing. Instantly when you start talking about that, it floods my brain. My brain starts flooding with like terrible ideas when it comes to, I'm going to hit it right on the head. Like the whole pay to play saga of things. Like I feel like that pay to play shit is kind of on its way out. And like, I know I could probably catch a whole lot of slack from it because, there's a whole reasoning why a lot of, what do you want to call them? Promoters, I guess you can call them. It's kind of, it draws, I don't even want to call them promoters because, basically artists are paying money for slots to perform at these shows when now the artist basically becomes the new promoter for that show. I think it's like a fine line where it's like, you're supposed to have these shows, and if you're a talent buyer or whatever the case may be, that you should be finding the right talent for the show and paying the talent for the show. I don't understand why the talent is paying to show. But on the same flip side,
definitely a big shift there.
It is.
Because before they were scouting people out who had the buzz and had that. Now you're scouting almost the promoters out, the DJs out, whoever's got clout out to get you on a show.
Yeah. I know that climate change, that's probably why I even got introduced, because if you look back in the day with like Ray Charles or any of these other artists, usually what would happen is like, oh, this singer is good and this singer is good. You know what would be good? If we just stuck them together and put them on tour. And now they're on tour with each other. Whereas now the climate has shifted and like social media, now we're able to be like, oh, such and such is coming to Boston. We don't really know the scene out there too much as far as the locals are, or whatever, the artists that are in that area, tag whoever, let's find out. Those situations are cool. But when you have these promoters rushing out there and just selling mad slots, like I feel like that style is kind of dying.
Yeah.
And I know that's not necessarily what exactly he was trying to get into, but as soon as you said what you said, it just instantly made me think of how, you got the concert craves out here charging people XYZ for some slots and then doing some bullshit behind your back to many artists.
Yeah, and it could discourage you. Like we were talking about it the other day, actually. There's a lot of artists who fell into that probably Grammy trap. I hate to go back to that, but they tell you you're going to be performing at the Grammys or whatever. You pay for this promoter all this money, fly your crew out there, fly your team out there. You think everything's going to be great, and you're not even at the Grammys.
Right.
You're at a bar that's on the same street as the Grammys.
Right across the street, hoping that somebody comes in to use the bathroom real quick and happens to catch you, which is like fucking trying to win the lottery or something like that, hoping that the next Diddy without the allegations walks in and discovers your ass, when that shit is just not it's just not what it is anymore. Not saying it can't happen, but it's just, 9 times out of 10, it's not really like that.
And it happens for not just that platform. You got like Rolling Loud, South by Southwest. COVID kind of contributed to a lot of these things being declining. And over the past 3 years or so, it's been harder to get performances. That's also a big contribution to all this, but with that all being said, you see a decline happening with some of these shows. It's like and it's not even just in the music industry, it's in everything. And everything right now, I think we're seeing the middle class being wiped right out. You know, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. It's either you got it or you don't. You know, you got to figure out your space in this very quick, or you're gonna get left behind. And you know, you got to be one of these people who are making money and making moves and making impact, or you're gonna be one of these people who are just on the bottom, struggling still. You know, and that whole middle class of everything is getting wiped out as we speak. You know, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. Anyone out there who watches this can tell me if I'm wrong, but that's just what I think and what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I could also loop myself into that where I could stand, corrected because, like, for one, I actually never even been to a South by Southwest, but I do agree that I think that it's kind of dying, but not so much. There's still a great avenue inside of it. There's still a good networking, environment to actually be in. I'm not trying to say like people shouldn't be doing these things. Those things are still viable. They still have life to them. Um, and they not only do they have life, but they could easily, because they have the life that they do have, they could actually kind of get back to the basics
Yeah.
and revitalize a dying, it's not a dead horse. So it's not like you're beating a dead horse. It's like, oh shit, you're kind of losing a lifeline over here. Either you can pivot a little bit to make it more, I guess you could say, suitable for artists and shit like that. But I feel like a lot of these things are kind of dying. And I feel like what fans are wanting and they're appreciating more is becoming more direct to the fan. Back in the 90s and even before that, you didn't really have the social media, so like there was always a mystique, something mysterious about an artist. It was like, oh, I have no idea what they're doing. Whereas now with social media, motherfuckers want to know, yo, did he use Bluetooth paste or does he use charcoal?
That mystique thing, Playboy Cardi is pulling it off wonderfully. Weird as that motherfucker is, he is like, people want to see what he's doing, wondering what he's doing. What's the next weird ass thing he gonna do?
Right.
Like, like what are you gonna dress up like next? What are he gonna pop out with next? He's gonna be a vampire? Is he gonna freaking come out?
Yeah.
Like what, that's interesting to some people. So they want to see what's gonna happen next.
Yeah.
I would say always look to find your appeal. I wouldn't recommend always going that route with it, but find what makes you interesting. There's something in everybody that makes you interesting and makes you special. So people want to know about it. People want to see it. If you have the courage to go out there and put it forward, not everyone does. That's not easy.
That also kind of goes back into what we talked about the last episode too, about brand identity. And we were talking about checking off multiple boxes and stuff like that. But you just said like finding what it is that you want to share with the world. Like in order for him to, I guess, play that role for people, he's literally clearly built his brand on being like, you have no idea if I'm going to pop up a vampire today, if I'm going to be playing Big Mama's House, you know what I'm saying, number 4. You know what I'm saying? I might pop up with a diaper tomorrow. You never know. Like,
yeah. And always think about that at the beginning. Like, I guess not only what you're willing to sacrifice to make your brand blow, but what do you want to portray to the world? What is your projection going to be? Like we talked about this the other day also, like the Rick Ross thing. When you think about him, I'm the biggest boss. When you think about Lil Wayne, greatest rapper alive.
right.
There's the trademark that you can put on everything. When you think of GrizzGangForever, it's get it Grizz, baby. And soon it's going to be GrizzGangForever, not sometimes, GrizzGangForever, not sometimes. Because we keep this rolling no matter what happened. Shout out to OG Richard Woodgett, Touch Money Master, my grandfather. We lost him last year, but we've been keeping it rolling even through that, because that's what he would want us to do. I was actually off camera having a pretty heated conversation with Kaseek about it, but this is one of my main men here. And, you need to have dudes like that in your life that can hold you accountable no matter what is going on. The good, the bad, the ugly. And if you have people who can't put you in check when you're doing wrong, then you have the wrong people around you. You don't want a bunch of yes men around you ever. you know, and you want people who are creative, free-flowing thinkers who can make things happen. And as soon as you do that, man, things are going to change for you. But with that being said, you know, if it wasn't for the team I have around me, my brother, you know, keeping it moving would have been very, very difficult. And it still was difficult. But at the end of the time, when you have people that like that around you, and you were raised by men that stand on principles and values and getting this bread, then that's what you're gonna do. No matter what.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And when you surround yourself with people like that, that's what's gonna happen, man. And but if you surround yourself with people who are always getting into the next bullshit, next scheme, guess what? You're gonna be in the next bullshit, next scheme right with them.
Definitely. Sin, I feel like when I do records with Sin, I love doing records with him because I feel like he has like so many dope quotables. And the reason why I bring him up is because in our song Mi Gusto, he says, I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think in order to have that team around you, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You know, uncomfortable conversations that might happen between me and you that might spark like you might not want to hear it, or vice versa. I might not want to hear it, but like if I don't let you know, for one, I'm feeling like I'm not being real.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. And I'm almost feeling like if something bad was to happen, I would feel like I'm aiding.
Yeah.
And not letting my people know like, yo, something's off or whatever the case.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yo, you should be able to have those uncomfortable conversations and understand that it's coming from a place of love, not a place of like I said in the, you know, the last video, I think I said, you know, I never look down on somebody. And if I do look down, it's because I'm helping them up. It's not like a, you know, I'm pointing my finger like sunning somebody, you know, like it's
we do everything we do here at GGF out of motivation. We're trying to motivate you. We're trying to get you to get up. We're trying to inspire you. We say this a lot in what we do. The music, the business moves, the community work, it all is to not only benefit us, because, yeah, let's not be stupid here. People do everything to benefit themselves. But at the end of the day, how can you benefit someone else? How can you change someone else's life? And how can you change maybe the way they're even thinking about something? And if you can start doing that, you start to provide value. And guess what? When you start to provide value, you get to charge whatever you want on whatever your value is. And people are going to pay it because they see it. You know, and that goes a long way in things. The next thing I wanted to kind of touch on you with is, all right, so what do you feel about this whole Massachusetts music landscape as you're an artist in Massachusetts right now, working to bust open the lane?
Yeah, I mean, what I feel is I've always felt like Massachusetts in its entirety has always had this like weird black cloud hovering over it like a Gotham, like not allowing people to just be great. And honestly, when you start talking about like Boston outside of Massachusetts, people instantly think of Boston means like you're racist. There's a whole bunch of wild Irish people that don't like black people, Puerto Ricans, Hispanics, none of it, you know what I'm saying? Like, but then when you actually come here and you realize, yo, this motherfucker is like a gumbo pot, and like there's a whole lot of culture here.
Definitely. Like Fitchburg, there's a lot of Fitchburg, Massachusetts, there's a lot of Hispanic people, there's a lot of Asians. Lawrence, they call it what? Little Dominican or Little DR or whatever. You know, flooded with Lowell, a lot of Asians.
You know what I'm saying? I call it Little Puerto Rico. No matter where it is, it's like Little Puerto Rico. Like
Fitchburg is one of those cities, and I'm gonna say this here. It seems like everybody's parents or parents' parents are from somewhere else. This is like an immigrant town, like from other cities in the U.S.
Yeah.
Everyone's family or parents are from somewhere else.
Whether from Greece,
and just brought them here for whatever reason, you know? Right. So you get a lot of mixture of different things going on.
I feel like it happened by accident. I feel like people had a globe and they spun the globe and closed their eyes and they were like, whatever they landed on, and it fucking hit this area.
978.
Massachusetts. Here we go.
You know,
but to answer the question, you know, like I feel like there's always been that black cloud kind of hovering over Massachusetts. And like I mean, in its entirety, where it's like artists don't want to support artists, venues don't want to support artists, artists don't want to support venues. All this is kind of like, why is it so difficult for us to, I guess, get aligned and come together and make something great without it being some extra shit? Either the venue's hating on you or the artist is hating on this artist, and there's just too much of this crabs in a bucket fucking mentality that I can't stand. But I'll stand corrected in that sense because I feel like I'm starting
When
to
you're in
see
your
some
own
sky.
lane, there is no traffic, baby.
There is no traffic. But I feel like in Massachusetts that those clouds are kind of parting ways a little bit and letting some sunlight through. It's kind of letting I'm actually able to see some blue sky. So I feel like a lot of it is I don't want to say coming apart, but a lot of it's kind of parting its ways to where it's like now we can actually get out here and do things. The only thing that sucks about the area really is nobody likes to make the drive. Massachusetts is spoiled, you know. From top to bottom,
Small ass state.
we can go from the top of Massachusetts to the bottom of Massachusetts in less than 2 hours. But people don't really want to make that drive. Whereas like if you're in New York, just to get over the bridge might take you an hour plus. For us to get to Boston, you're talking about a 45-minute drive. Motherfuckers don't even want to make that 45-minute drive.
If you're outside of Massachusetts and you talk to anyone when you're walking, if you say you're from Massachusetts, they instantly just peg you like you're from Boston. You know,
it's easier to say it. It's easier to say that.
It's easier to say that when you're not from here.
Right. And then when you're in here, and people might say, like, yo,
you can't say that when you're
I heard that
here.
artist and he said he was from Boston. And the motherfuckers in Boston be like, that motherfucker ain't from Boston, blah, blah, blah. It's like, goddamn, like, I'm going to catch it over there and catch it over here.
Coyle
too.
even
like,
catches that. Like, she ain't Boston. Like,
right.
Blah, blah, blah. Like, she's basically.
P.S. Medford. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck?
This
like,
is Cambridge. Like,
right.
Dude, like, come on, dog. Like,
yeah.
He's from Everett.
It's like New York, but like miniature New York, where it's like we're not necessarily looked at boroughs, which is hilarious because we have all the boroughs, the Attleboro, Northborough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, all these things, but we don't look at these as like these mini boroughs, I guess you could say. But essentially, like it's kind of like that. Like Cambridge is really like, if you look at it on the map, it's like, if you look on the map, you're like, damn, that shit's in Boston. But then you try to tell somebody that's in Boston, like, no, that's in Cambridge. No, that's in Medford. Nah, that's in.
Another thing I want to touch in is that other crab in the bucket stuff that you brought up. Like when you're a creator, you're never worried about that type of stuff. Like, and that's when people need to tap into. Like, the more we create, the more we do things out of our own heart, our soul ambition, you don't got to worry about what everyone else is doing. No, and you're not upset with their success. You're looking at them like, okay, he created, that inspires me. I can go out and create something too. And it's going to be great too. And I can make my own fan base, my own money, my own product line, whatever you want to do. It could be done if you just apply it and really work it. Because when you do that, then you create something. A brand, an identity, a product,
if you're really
an image.
Actually doing the physical, the verb of creating, you're not actually paying attention to the crabs in the bucket. I don't pay attention to the crabs in the bucket whatsoever besides this conversation. I can acknowledge that they're around because there's so much dope talent around, and it's like we would actually be better off
working
together, taking the Atlanta approach where even in Atlanta, they actually do this to themselves either, but the outside looking in the box, people think that in Atlanta, what they do is like, yo, this dude he's kind of catching a little buzz. He's got a little buzz. How about we all just make records together? That way there, when one of us blows up, it's like it all blows up.
Like, shout out to that whole Atlanta scene. They fuck with us. They show us love. Everyone we have ever encountered from Atlanta shows us major love.
Anybody I've ever encountered out of Massachusetts, point blank period, has completely showed me love. To the point where it's like, I don't even want to live in Massachusetts. I want to live over there where people are actually, I'm celebrated, not tolerated. Like people are, I'm not saying necessarily people are tolerating me here. I don't even, my circle's so small, like I'm literally not linking with anybody.
And that's the best sometimes.
It is. And obviously you get those stigmas like where people might look at you like, oh, he thinks he's Hollywood or he's whatever. It's like, no, you're not even in the right mindset. I can feel it in your energy. Naturally being an empath, I can't integrate with a lot of these people.
I'm going to just say it straight out. A lot of you motherfuckers don't even deserve to sit at our fucking table.
Right.
or even have a conversation with us, bro. Like we love everybody, but you know, let's just be real. If you're not in the right mindset and you're not have the right aspiration and goals, you can't even get into this whole thing.
Right. And honestly, it's not even like it's personal, but not personal. It's not personal to that individual. It's personal to ourselves, where it's like, why am I going to go be around that type of energy when I know it's not going to align with mine? There's no point of you sitting at my table when I know that you're just going to muddy it up. And it's like, only I can allow that. I'm this energy ball. If I take my ball and say, hey, you know what, maybe I'll just give you my ball. Here you go. Now you have control of my energy ball. The fuck am I going to play with my ball for? I'd rather just take my ball and go in my little corner with my crew and whatever the case may be and do it that way. But, you know, to piggyback, come full circle around that whole, Massachusetts music scene, I actually think that a lot of artists now have been opening up. That's why I say the black clouds are kind of leaving.
Yeah.
Like artists are letting other artists know, like, yo, you inspire me. You know what I'm saying? Like, for some reason, we are so quick to be like, yo, I don't know, Nipsey Hussle inspires me. But like, you never met Nipsey Hussle and he's all across the other side of the United States before passing. But like somebody next to you, you have Nipsey Hussles in your own hood that you don't even show love to, that you try to disrespect or try to smash on the BMs or try to do X, Y, Z to tarnish whatever the fuck, all because you mad that they have a brick and mortar right on a main street of Fitchburg, all because they're actually doing something what you want to be doing. You wish that you could be in their shoes. And it's like, motherfucker, we've been so open arms with everybody. Like, there's a train here going on at GGF, and you could either hop on board or get left. And a lot of motherfuckers is missing that ticket. And that's for their own jealous reasons. It has nothing to do with really, like I said, if anybody watches any of these episodes, I literally start off a conversation with peace and positivity your way. How can I help you? I'm always in my element of inspiring. If you hate me, that's your problem. It's not like I'm doing anything out of my way to be like, I'm saying peace and positivity, but now I'm trying to sneak this, you and do that. I literally don't do that. I literally don't even reach out to people.
If you got a problem with anybody smiling at you or saying peace and positivity, then you got some inner shit going on with yourself. There's nothing we can do to help that.
It's time to sage yourself. You know what I'm saying? People used to say that coming to the studio because I would be in here saging before, the client would come in. And they'd be like, yo, I love the smell in here. But the ones that didn't like the smell, I was like, all right, you got some shit inside of you that you might need to get out if you don't like the smell. I used to hate the smell. So, don't make it, like, I fucking hated the way sage smelled. But the more I did it, now I feel like it just smells like straight firewood to me. Like, when I smell it, I feel good.
Yeah. Well, that's a great thing to touch on right there. So artists, new artists, people coming in contact with GGF, wanting to get studio time, people going to other studios. You're engineer, you're artist, you're you're professional with this whole thing. Tell them something about the etiquette of when they come up in here or any studio and being ready to record.
Oh, me give etiquette?
Or what you think the etiquette should be, at least.
I think definitely the golden rule, that people like to say is like, if you show up on time, you're late. I think that people should be showing up early. That's like a golden rule. Like, usually if a client is booked, very rarely am I showing up 15 minutes before. Usually I'm already here 30 minutes to an hour. Why do I show up 30 minutes to an hour? I'm taking into consideration that traffic might happen. Even though I live super close, traffic could happen. I might need to get gas that I forgot about. A tire might pop. Something might happen that might delay me getting to the bag. But I also have to be here to make sure, the Wi-Fi, everything is good. What if, I come in a pipe burst or something, or the studio's caught on fire, I had no idea about it or something like that. I want to take real life shit. Like, yo, for all I know, the heater broke and now I'm trying to figure out how to heat it up so when the client comes in, it's just, just life shit. I want to make sure that the computer is running smoothly. I don't do too much. I'm always keeping things up to date. But you know how many times I go in the studio and then all of a sudden I'd load up the computer and now starts glitching and do some other shit. And I was like, yo, I literally just used you
Oh man.
3 hours ago. You was working perfectly. What's wrong with you now?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I want to make sure the microphones work, the TVs, the Wi-Fi.
Technology is a motherfucker. Oh, I love it, but hate it at the same time. It seems like I love technology, but it doesn't love me back.
I
don't know why.
I can say
technology don't love me back. I'm the dude over there fumbling with my iPhone. Like, I don't know what's going on. I love all this technology. I don't even know how to hook up the Bluetooth to my damn car.
Yeah.
Got a Jaguar. I can't hook it up.
Right.
Like, can't do any of the features, but I got it. I love it. You know, I'm like a baseline Iron Man.
You're like an 80-year-old just discovering social media. What the fuck is this?
TikTok.
The fucking toxin, the ticks, and the tubes and the urine.
But yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, yo, that's real shit though. Like real life stuff. You know, we want to be like, I naturally want to be ready. You know, I could just drill that in. You know, I probably even said too much. Like it's really just that simple. Like I want to make sure that everything is running smoothly. That way, then when we come in and work, we're getting the work done. And that's why I think an artist should not be showing up at their designated time. You know, etiquette should be if you're, depending on the studio, you know, some studios don't have super customer relationships. I don't work with everybody, me personally. So if I'm taking you, you have that luxury of sending me the beat before, letting me know the song title. Maybe you sent me a reference track to know what it is I'm even recording for that day. That way then when you come in, everything is already loaded. All I have to do is press record. You just got to come up. You got to show up and deliver. Your time starts at that time. If you book at 12, you need to show up at 12:30 or 12:45, ready to go. Already have smoked your weed, drank your drink, or whatever. And that whole etiquette is a whole different thing. Don't come into a studio saying, yeah, I need to finish the song now. Because your 2 hours is already, you know what I'm saying? Is already going at that 12. At that point, now you're gonna end up paying more. If you want to, sure. But most time when you're booking a studio session, you're booking a slot, which means that your slot after that might not be available.
Yep.
Stop coming in with bitches and thinking that like this is a motherfucking
video.
Yeah, like this is a straight music video when you're there to work. Now, I think that's a part of the etiquette too. Both bitches and dudes. Like don't be having nobody come with you that's not actually trying to attribute. And what I mean by attribute is like if they're not giving you a line or helping you, they don't need to be
paying for studio time.
They're not paying for studio time. Don't need to be there. If they're giving you input like, yeah, I like this. No, I don't like that. That's cool. But the person that wants to sit in the corner or they're on the phone with their friends, like, I don't want to fucking like get this guy out of here because I'm trying to focus on you and I got this motherfucker on the phone. Etiquette, you know, like bring the people that you
And this
need.
is different in every studio.
Yeah.
But this is how we get down over here. And a lot of other serious like studios get down. So you got to be used to this type of stuff.
Honestly,
as a new artist coming in, I don't expect some of this.
I don't even mean it as shade to these other studios because some studios definitely get down like that. But I also don't think that they're in it for the long game at all. Yeah. I feel like if it's a party studio, it's gonna get ran through.
It'll be a year or two and that thing's gone.
That shit's
like,
gonna be
running
gone.
It up and they're just raping it out. Yeah. Like you gotta always know what the long-term goal is and what you're doing.
Yeah.
This is a legacy. That little praying bear you see is a whole legacy. Like this thing is gonna feed families. It's gonna build brands, and it's a whole business and enterprise in the making. So you got to know what your long-term goal in something like that is, in anything you build. Even with the music, where are you going to go long-term with your music? Do you see that something that's going to be played on the radios for years and decades? Do you see it's a one-hit wonder you make a quick bag off of, get your clout up and start doing something else? Like, what is your end goal with this whole thing?
And if it's a hobby, that's totally fine. And that's another piece of the etiquette. You know, don't be paying. Well, I mean, you can if you really, really want to. If you really don't know how to do it yourself. But there's no reason for people to be ripping YouTube beats or stealing somebody's beats and then booking a studio session to music that they don't even own. You're just wasting time. Unless, of course, you are literally going into it with the intention of saying, yo, I booked a studio session because I know I don't own the beat, but I did it because I just wanted to practice and I don't know how to record myself. Okay, let it be known.
Yeah.
You know, don't come in here acting like you're the next big fucking whatever the fuck King Matumbo over here when I'm literally a whole artist. I'm not these little fucking engineers that, okay, guys, I got you. Like, no, motherfucker, like, get the fuck out my studio so I can record. I got music to like, I got shit. I got beats that I already bought ready to go that need to be recorded and sent off. The fuck out of here.
Yeah, we're only if we're dealing with you, we're only dealing with people who are serious and really want to get
Right.
this rocking and make something happen.
And the way I work is like a producer. I'm trying to see it through. I'm not just taking, like I've already said it many times to you, like this is not really the money for me. The money is obviously a bottom line that everybody needs to meet, but I don't do this shit for the money. I do it because I actually really genuinely care and love the music so much, and I want to see somebody's vision come to life. I love coming, to me, it's more fulfilling when an artist comes in and I do something for them and they're like, yo, this came out so much better than my idea from the inception. That to me is more rewarding than the cash. The cash obviously pays the bills, cool. You know, I'm not shading the cash. All I'm saying is my fulfillment, I was gonna do this shit anyways. My fulfillment is hearing you saying, yo, I had this little idea, but I just had the seed, but Kaseek knew how to plant that bitch, water it, trim it, and make that shit grow into the tree that it is.
Yeah.
That's gonna help me feed my family. You know, let it be an orange, apple tree.
And pay attention. Like that's how you should look at anything that you're really doing on a long-term basis like that.
Yeah.
You want to love the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
You want to love it like almost like it's a baby. And this is something I need to nurture and take care of until it becomes what it needs to become. Because that's every business, that's every idea. And if you love what you're doing, you never work a day in your life. That's the old saying.
And I never feel like I'm working because I'm literally doing
But if you don't love it and you're just doing it for the clout or the money and blah, 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 there's always going to be a lot of pressure on you. You know, so figure that out too.
It'll phase out by itself.
Figure that the fuck out too.
And honestly, you want an engineer that is like me. I am the engineer to go to. But if you're going to choose an engineer, make sure that they actually genuinely love the shit themselves to want to be able to help you. Because there is a whole bunch of studios out there just doing mediocre bullshit and charging, $60 to $100 an hour, $200 an hour to give you some bullshit. They yesed you to death. I am not one of those engineers. If that shit sucks, I'm letting you know that shit sucks and redo it. Try again.
And that's accountability. We all need that. Accountability. Have someone tell you when you're doing wrong and when you're doing good at the same time.
Right. If you want a yes man, definitely don't hit me up.
It's not happening.
It's not happening. I've literally had clients.
There's been artists walk up out of here.
Yeah, I'm all set. I don't want to work with this guy. That's okay. I didn't really, you're doing us the favor anyway. Walking out is doing me a favor.
There's respect still.
Here's your money.
At the end of the day, if you walk out and you don't work with us, it just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to happen. That's fine.
Right.
We don't need to feel no type of way about you, start bad mouthing you. Fine.
No.
Go do your thing. We're still going to create here.
No. That's why I vet every client I even work with, because if I feel like they're serious enough, I'll work with them. If not, then I'll be like, yo, instead of coming to this studio, maybe check out this guy's studio or this guy's studio, because that might be more fitting. Like I said, if it was about the money, I would just be like, nah, you got to come to me. You got to come to me. No, please. If this shit sounds like something I can't really make, if I can't make you better, I'm sending you somewhere else. I'm only accepting what I can actually make better. I'm here to motivate, inspire. If you don't leave here sounding like a fucking official artist, like I take that personally. I don't want anybody to promote some record that I did that they're not happy about. I want motherfuckers to leave here feeling like a kid that just went to fucking Disneyland. Like, oh my God, yeah, I gotta, whoa.
No bullshit coming out of GGF.
No. You know what I mean? I want you to feel that way. Because I know what it feels like to feel that way myself. And you can't, if you love this shit, you can't, that's like a high that you're always going to chase. If it was a drug, it's like a high you always
sometimes
chase.
You did love it, but that gets lost in the whole hunt of you attracting and doing all the things that trying to bring the dream towards you. So that when that happens, sometimes you got to just bring it back to basics. to the original reason why you were doing this shit, your why, and why you love the shit. What's your why?
Right.
Why are you doing it? Is it your family? Is it your kids? Is it your, did you just always had dreams of being on a big stage, being a platinum artist? What is your why? Figure that out. And you can always lean back on that when you're trying to go towards your goal.
And everything is always going to stay there. It never, like, music in itself is not leaving. If you need to take time and put it on a back burner and really do that. But when you come back, make sure that you're coming back full-fledged. You can't be coming in half-assing it. What's that saying that people like to use? Like, the way you do something is how you do everything. I'm not sure exactly the quote. I pretty much just butchered it. But basically, if you half-ass something, you know what I'm saying? You pretty much half-ass everything else in your life. You can't really come into this and be like, yeah, I'm going to do this, and then I'm just going to take this dive for a 3-4 month hiatus, and then I'm going to try to come back, and then I'm going to get upset because nobody's really paying attention to me, so I'm going to do that again. Like, that happens very, very frequently with artists, and I'm also one that kind of did that. I put things on the back burner. I was like, whatever, and then I came back, and I was upset that, damn, I used to drop music, and it would get 10,000 this and this, and now I'm like 200,
Yeah, that happens.
Figuring it the fuck out.
You got to ride the wave when you got it, ride the heat when you got it sometimes. And also social media is changing so rapidly that anything can happen. The algorithms could change. You were going up on one platform, now you're not.
That shit can easily feel like a job in itself. And it can be. But taking that element out of it, if you love what it is that you do, you're going to figure it out. You're going to end up doing whatever it is that you're doing.
Manage your time wisely. I would say definitely say, like, once you learn to manage your time wisely, between the, if you're working a job, the businesses, even the family time, everything has to be finely tuned and cut down into a fit schedule that you can work and make things happen on a consistent basis.
That's one thing I could feel like I can make better. I feel like everybody can make that just better.
That will build the consistency, because when you're hitting stuff at a certain schedule and timing, you're always going to be consistent and right on time. But as soon as you start breaking that, things start to fall apart. Then this thing doesn't start getting delivered on time. The next thing doesn't start getting delivered on time. And then now everything is just all an array in a mix. And then that's when it goes back to the other thing, going back to the basics again, refining your schedule again, and getting all that stuff back in order. Talking to the right people who will get your head back in order too. Like, yo, you see, when I was doing all this, what's your input on how I could do this even better? Because sometimes you need to take it outside of yourself to get a second opinion on things, and make sure that's a trusted opinion. Don't just get it from any, like they say, geek off the street, whatever, and that's all.
Yeah, definitely not.
Or a dude who doesn't have the experience. And also, this is something I'm just stopping doing. I'm not listening to no broke people. If you broke, I don't want to hear from you, bro. I want to hear from the people who got success and money doing this thing as a case study. But that's just me personally. But that's where I'm at with my life. And when you already surrounded yourself with people who have those ambitions, the next step is surrounding your people with the next thing, who don't have the money you have, who have had more success than you. That's going to push you even harder. So that's what we're doing over here at GGF. And
yo, did I answer your question though? I started thinking about that shit while he was going. I was like, yo, did I even answer the question? Or did I half-ass the question?
No, you gave me a good answer on that studio etiquette and stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of studio etiquette, but I think between studio etiquette and maybe what was the other question? The other question was the musical scene opening up in Massachusetts. I can't remember if I fully answered it or if I just...
Shit, we can go back to that.
Yeah, honestly. I know that I ramble. I'm not even...
We did hit it, but
I'll be on track and then ADHD kicks in.
I would say the top artists, like, we didn't really even give them their flowers. We'll do that right now. That I've seen is Millie's obviously killing it right now.
Yeah, fast.
Shout out to him. He's murdering the scene right now. I came with him off of his freestyles. I actually came in contact with his videographer out here. One of his videographers that works with him. I'm a beast with it. That dude is yo, I respect his grind, his hustle too. And you got Joyner, obviously he's Grammy nominated. And then you obviously got Bia. You know, you got Coyle Ray, who's kind of like up in the air if they affiliated with Massachusetts. You got Y Jizzle. Shout out to him. You know, I hope everything is great with him, man. You know,
Yeah.
hearing that. And you know, really that's all I'm really aware of personally. But there's other artists out here that are doing pretty good things
I haven't
too.
heard for a little bit, but Wiz Dakota was doing his thing too, you know. Actually, even in our own city, you know, the Madero and the Narrow Lifestyle dudes, like
They're on fire. They're doing their
some
thing.
things too. So like I respect it all. There's a lot of dope talent. I just think like we need to kind of get in that Atlanta aspect where it's like we actually maybe should just work together. And you know, I don't hate nobody, you know what I'm saying, out here. You know, even the people that don't like, I actually might like their music, but I don't like them as an individual. But you know, like I think we naturally, you know, actually wrote a song about it, but what is it? Was it like water? A tide lifts all boats. So I feel like if we're, you know, reaching out to our left and our rights and actually working with each other, the stronger we could unite and come and really make it out. You know, that's kind of also that's like cross promoting. You know, if I work with my homeboy Ray Mills, who does more singing stuff, and like I'm trying to get into melodic space, you know, he helps me with that. It's like I'll help him with the other thing. Like it's like an even exchange.
Yeah.
Scratch my back, I scratch yours type of deal. Like one hand washes
sharing
the other.
fan bases, sharing techniques and how you release the music. You guys are evolving more. There wasn't more evolution I've seen than the past 3-4 years of Ben Grizz and Kaseek getting in the studio, locking in with each other. They just made each other better and bounced off each other. And Kaseek, it kind of came full circle because Kaseek was the one who originally worked Ben Grizz's artistry up in the studio, one of the first people we recorded with. Now he's got this artist who came back and he's refined and like wants to work with him now in the studio. Now they can learn stuff from each other, you know, while they're recording and make each other better, you know. So that's a beautiful thing. And that's what, like he said, that's what he aspires to do.
Right. That's one of my favorite things to even talk about as far as like the history for me and Ben Grizz is that we were already tight meeting each other, and I was constantly trying to get him to evolve his artistry up until basically my studio had shut down at that time. And he had no choice but to go seek elsewhere for another engineer. And I think that's the most beautiful part of our relationship is because he was able to basically see the gem that was right next to him, which was me. He was able to see that gem more fluently because he was going to all these other studios that were charging him doing this. They were fucking up his records. They weren't building his artistry up. It was like he was making moves, recording all this music, but not going anywhere with it. Like sitting stagnant. Like he was just running in place because everybody just kept doing bad business and didn't know how to work with him. But once we got blocked back in before the studio opened up, it was like you could tell. He re-recorded records with me and everything. He was like, yo, like, I just don't know. Like, I don't want to say he necessarily like needed me, but in that sense, he needed me. He needed my guidance. He needed my help. And I needed to build that up with him. And our chemistry was always so good. It was like, yo, we need to figure out and just get together and really do this shit. Because
take it to the next level.
Take it to the next level. His sound has constantly developed and developed. Had he kept doing what he was doing, you know, it's hard to say what could have, woulda, you know, the woulda, coulda, shoulda shit. But like, if he was on that same type of time with everybody else, he might have actually quit because
a lot of people quit music because of stuff like that.
He might have felt like, yo, this shit's just not working out. Every time I go to somewhere, I get bullshit mixes. They're charging me XYZ. Then they're trying to charge me for my own beat to send it back as an acapella, doing goofy shit like that.
And those people are the ones you see try to come back to music because they got bullshitted at so many different studios. Yeah. And then they be older, still trying to do it, but like never really had a good, like, you know, experience.
Yeah, low key. Low key's another one.
Yeah.
You know, he was going to these studios. Granted, you know, his story is a whole lot different than Ben Grizz's, but going from being an addict to where he's at now,
Yeah,
that growth,
my dog,
not
too.
only is that amazing, but the fact that he went to all these studios and he kept getting jerked around and bullshit here and bullshit here. Then he locks in with me for like a whole year. And you can listen to the first song we did to the song that, the most recent song, and you'll be like, damn, his growth just by coming to me has just been like actual growth. You're becoming the artist. You're you're getting in line, your identity, your branding, your sounding. Even the music you did a year ago is already just sounding so much better, from the writing to the recording to the mixing
Yeah.
and mastering.
It's a whole process. Like, if you really love this shit, artist, you got to go in all for it. It could be a one-hit wonder. It could be an overnight success, or it could not be. It could take years. There's a lot of case studies to that. You see people blow up overnight. You see people that it took 10, 15 years for them to finally pop and get that Grammy. So like it's really how much do you want it? How much do you love it? How consistently you're gonna do it? And who are you surrounding yourself with? So
A lot of it's not fabricated either. Like artists have this thing where we go into the studio or we write a song and we fall so in love with it that we're like, this is the one. This is the one that everybody's gonna love. This one's gonna be the reason why I'm touching millions of views. And it's never like that. It's usually what happens is that the fans are the ones that choose those records for you. You might love the song, but that song might drop and doesn't do numbers. But the song you hate and you didn't want to release ends up becoming the reason why you're famous. You went viral. Like that. It's not really fabricated. And what I meant by that is like it's not just the money either.
and that's why we're in drop that shit mode, baby.
Facts. I'm dropping everything.
Drop that shit right on their head.
What was it? Didn't Mayweather open up like a record label and that shit went nowhere? That motherfucker is super, super rich. You would think like you could just get an artist and put the money on them and make them blow, but it's just not how it works. The money definitely helps, but like, Mayweather is an amazing boxer. But when it came to the music space, it was like, don't even try it, because it didn't matter how much money you had. You can make this bullshit hot.
Yep. Definitely. And that's what we're gonna touch on today. Figure it the fuck out. We'll be back at you with another episode soon. Love y'all.
Figure it the fuck out.